In this video, we are going to look at the 2023 predictions for Libra moon or Thula Rashi people. I want to start this session by wishing you a very happy new year. For the purpose of deriving the 2023 predictions, we are looking at three types of transits: Saturn transit, Jupiter transit, and Rahu Ketu transits. We are not considering other planets because they don't have as high an influence as these planets, because these planets stay in a particular Rashi for a long time. Saturn stays for 2.5 years, Jupiter for 1 year, Rahu Ketu for 1.5 years. Other planets like Sun, Mercury, they stay for a month or a little longer. That's all. So they don't get that much time to create a bigger impact. So when you spend time in a particular area, you have the time and opportunity to go deeper into the area, right? That's the benefit these planets get. Sometimes they give good benefits, sometimes they give bad benefits. Before going to 2023, I want to record here that Libra moon or Thula Rashi people were one among the set of few other Rashis, among the three Rashis that suffered the most in 2022. The other Rashis are Gemini, right? Mithuna Rashi, and Makar Rashi, that is Capricorn, right? Nobody expected the Thula Rashi would suffer as much, right? But such is the effect of planets in one's lives, right? That is primarily caused by sixth house Jupiter and Rahu and Ketu. The problem is not so much due to Saturn, but unfortunately people blame Saturn, right? Saturn has become the punching bag for everyone. Saturn is not the cause for the trouble, because Libra's troubles have increased only from April 2022, right? What happened in April 2022? Jupiter moved from 5th to 6th, and Rahu moved from 8th to 7th, and Ketu moved from 2 to 1. This happened in April 14, 2022 to be precise. And problems for Thula Rashi have continued since then. So Rahu and Ketu are going to be in this position for how many months? 18 months from April. That is till September 2023. They're going to be there. And Jupiter is there till April 2023. So that's how things are looking. So Thula Rashi's problems are going to continue a little longer, right? They need to keep that in mind. But the end is in sight. Okay. With that, let's get into the specifics, right? So Saturn transits on 17 January 2023. Okay. Saturn from the 5th house, it is going to aspect the 11th house. And Saturn is also going to aspect the 7th house. And Saturn from here will aspect the 2nd house. So the key word for Saturn is restrict, right? Saturn restricts everything. So Saturn is going to restrict gains. Saturn is going to restrict wealth to some extent, cause problems in speech. So you need to be very careful, and also cause some problems in your marital relationships, even business partnership, because 7th house denotes business partnerships, any kind of partnerships. That is something you need to be very careful about. So already Jupiter is in 6th house. So Jupiter is transiting only in 23rd April 2023. Okay. So the period until April, January to March, can be bit troubling for the Thula Rashi people, because Jupiter in 6th house, Jupiter, while Saturn restricts, Jupiter expands, right? Jupiter will expand enemy, death, and fight, and 6th house is the 12th to 7th, right? That means this is the house of loss in a relationship, and when Jupiter is there, the losses in a relationship get magnified, which basically means that relationship issues could be a lot higher. The presence of Rahu also amplifies this. Many of the Thula Rashi people are considering divorce or separation from their partners. I only suggest you hang on for 3 more months. Things will dramatically change in April. Okay. To the extent people will ask, you people get along so well, how come you even thought of a separation? That is how things will change in a matter of 3 months. So for 3 months, January to March, Tula Rashi people need to be in a lot of patience. Hang in there, this too shall pass. You have waited for so long, things to improve. Now the end is in sight. Okay. So that end is Jupiter moving from 6 to 7. Once Jupiter comes to 7, relationship with the partner improves significantly. You get your smile back, you get your energy back, right? Because from 7th house, Jupiter aspects your Rashi, your moon directly, right? That's why it gives optimism. From 7th, Jupiter aspects the third house of courage. So Jupiter expands courage. Jupiter expands your fame, not frame. Okay. And from 7th house, Jupiter will also amplify gains, right? Though Saturn from here, right, could restrict gains, but Jupiter will expand gains. So it will kind of balance things out, right? So you will continue to have gains too once in a while, right? So Jupiter transit is a super duper positive transit for Tula Rashi. Okay. The few months that Jupiter and Rahu are together could be bit uh, topsy turvy. Okay. But once you wait through the 2 month period, from June onwards, things will be extremely positive to Tula Rashi. April itself, you will see some relief. June onwards, the relief will be significant. Okay. And the other transit which is very important is Rahu Ketu transit, because Ketu is going to move to the 12th house and Rahu to the 6th house. Rahu moving to 6th house is extremely positive because Rahu behaves like like Saturn. So like Saturn, it will restrict enemies, deaths and fights, which is good, no? And Ketu, by being in first house, right, over your moon, over your mind, caused untold problems because Ketu is a spiritual planet, the planet that is an antithesis to the material life. Okay, we don't want Ketu in our lives. Ketu wants to take away things. Ketu wants us to feel alone, right? Because in loneliness, you can find enlightenment. It is a planet of enlightenment. Sometimes when you have to reach enlightenment, you have to go through a lot of troubles, a lot of tribulations, right? That's what Ketu can give. But Ketu gives frustration also because nothing moves. When Ketu is there, when Ketu is dominating, you don't have problems and nothing happens. Can human mind exist without problems? It's not possible, right? So by being in the first house, that's the kind of feeling Ketu gives, right? A feeling of emptiness. That will go away. Because that feeling of emptiness is very difficult to handle. You can handle the worst of problems, but you cannot handle that state of emptiness, right? That is Ketu for you, and that Ketu will go away to the 12th house, where 12th house Ketu is comfortable, okay? Because you sleep, right? Sleep is a place where even though you could sleep next to someone, it is for yourself, right? So that way Ketu is better in 12th than in first. First is one of the worst positions for Ketu. So it was like 2022, Ketu was in its worst place, Rahu was in his worst place, Jupiter was in its worst place, Saturn was relatively better off. Okay. Fourth is not the best of position, but it is not like as bad as it is in eighth house. So 2022 was a very bad. 2023 will be a lot better. Okay. Most important thing is you will smile, right? Your positivity will come back. Relationship with your partner will significantly improve. And with that, you will manage everything, right? Gains will also be there. It's not like you're going to experience losses and all that. No. Saturn will make your intelligence dull, right? But you don't have to worry too much because Rahu Ketu and Jupiter are coming in extremely good positions, right? So what I've covered so far is a kind of generic prediction. What I'm going to do now is to bring in an element of specificity into the prediction. That is, I am looking at planets that are already there in fifth house in your chart. Okay. and I'm going to bring in the interaction effect of Saturn into this whole thing, right? Because your transit Saturn interacts or combines, right, with natal planets that are already in fifth house in your horoscope, right, in your personal horoscope. So that is how the planets will interact, engage, combine, and give the results. If you say you don't have planets in fifth house, nothing to worry. Whatever I'm going to cover may not be all that relevant to you. Okay, let's start with Jupiter Venus. If, for example, Jupiter Venus is there, it's going to be a big bumper harvest, right? When I say bumper harvest, significant material gain. Okay, it's as if the roof of the house will open and the angel or the god of prosperity will pour all the money on you, all the riches on you. It is that kind of a positive impact, because natal Saturn will, whenever it crosses Jupiter or Venus, it's normally a period of financial gain. Okay, and please note that Jupiter and Venus are also near to their best points. Venus gets exalted here, right? Venus gets exalted here, and this is Jupiter's own house, right? So Jupiter and Venus, by being in fifth house, are very powerful, right? A planet that is closer to exaltation is powerful. Don't underestimate it, right? So what about other planets? We saw Jupiter, Venus, then Mercury. If Mercury is there here, transit Saturn can interact with the natal Mercury and help you to start new businesses, right? Export, import, agency business. Those things are a possibility. At the same time, watch your speech, because Mercury is the planet of communication. Your communication could go for a haywire. Okay, you may say something, the other person may interpret it as something else. Be very careful with communication. The next one is Saturn. What if Saturn itself is there? How will natal Saturn interact with transit Saturn? What kind of effect one can expect? Change, significant change. However, during the changeover process, that is when you go from old to new, the changeover process will be extremely challenging. Change itself is challenging for all of us, right? However, if it is significant change, the changeover will be particularly troublesome. The change that the butterfly went through, when it was insect, right? The changeover period must have been very traumatic, no? Even troublesome. Whether it is going to be a troublesome period or a traumatic period, your natal chart will decide. But you are going to have a significant change, and the changeover process is going to be difficult. If natal Saturn is already here, you are likely to be in your 30th year, 60th year, or 90th year, or close to that, right? Your birthday will be closer to these years. How am I saying that? I'm saying because Saturn takes 2.5 years to cross one house. There are 12 houses, so 2.5 into 12 is 30. That is how I'm saying. Okay, what kind of changes? Maybe it's a job change, maybe it's a new relationship, maybe it's retirement, right? Maybe it's a health thing. It could be anything, right? But a significant one. Okay, your natal chart will determine the kind of impact and the extent of impact, but it's going to be at the least a significant change, about which you could be talking even after 5 years or 10 years. Okay, now let's look at Rahu, Ketu, Mars, right? If Rahu or Ketu or Mars, one or more, is there in fifth house, I will include Sun also. Saturn will interact with all of these planets, and the interaction effect will not be very positive, because Saturn considers Mars and Sun as its number one enemy. If you are sitting with your number one enemy, how will you feel? You will feel stressed, right? You won't feel happy about it. And when you are not happy, when you are in a state of rage, can you do anything good, anything positive? That's how Saturn will be. Saturn is unable to do anything good to you. Please note that. Ketu behaves like Mars. Saturn behaves like Rahu behaves like Saturn. If Rahu is there, I said it behaves like Saturn. So two dark planets. It's as if people ask you to do some work, but they switch off all the lights. It's not just dark, but it is pitch dark. How will you complete the work? Very difficult, right? If Mars is there, you can expect fights, physical fights, verbal fights. If Ketu is there, you can expect some break and then some start over, right? Something will stop and something new will begin. Okay. If you have Rahu, as I said, it's a dark period. Specifically, you can expect a lack of recognition in your work if Rahu is there. Okay. If Sun is there, ego clash, significant ego clash with superiors. If you say that you get along well with your manager, what about father-like figures? What about government entities? So ego clash could come with these people as well. At the same time, if natal Sun is here, Sun plus Saturn can help you with promotion, government job, and other such things. So this is how we take prediction if planets are already present in your fifth house. That is, when you were born, these planets like Mercury or Saturn or Mars, were there in your fifth house, right? So in the first part of the video, what I covered is fairly generic, right? Which indicates the generic prediction is 2023. You're going to see light at the end of the tunnel. Not just light, it's going to be a bright light, okay? Bright sunshine. Okay, so 2023 is going to be a lot better. Just write the Jan to March time period. Okay, so I wish you the best of luck and a happy new year once again. Thank you.